I never lose. I either win or I learn. A famous quote by Nelson Mandela. Hi, welcome to another episode of Podcast with Abrar. I'm your host, Abrar, of course, and today we're going to cover new businesses, IPOs, and a few other things. So there's a lot to learn, and I hope you guys are going to stick by because this episode was created so I could teach or make young people learn more about businesses and the global economy. Because right now, understanding these things are going to, they're going to be impactful because of the upcoming things. Before I go forth, here's a special high five to you. Yes, you, my subscriber, if you are, that is. If you're not, then you're simply missing out. So please do subscribe so you can get a special high five every time, every episode, wherever you're listening to this from. Also, it'll mean a lot to me and motivate me to make more podcasts like this. Now, let me get my engine started. Spaceship, get the engine started. Commencing, sir. Alright, fasten your seatbelts, guys, because it's going to be an educational but also a thrilling ride. So today we're going to talk about new business or startups and IPOs. About new business or startups, I'm going to be talking to a guest in our show today who is going to give us a depth knowledge about new business or startups. He had his own startup back in his college, so he knows, and he still has his own startup going on right now, and I told you guys about it. More on that coming up. But let's talk about IPOs, initial public offerings. Now, it might sound a bit gibberish. I mean, it might sound something that you haven't heard, but if you have, that's great. But many young people have a hard time understanding it because it is part of the stock market. Oh my God, I'm seeing all these graphs, I'm seeing all these numbers. What are these things? It's very difficult, but if you would like to know more, today I'm discussing about stock markets also. So if you want to understand about IPOs, we need to understand what a stock market is. Let me take you guys back in time to give you a basic example of how a stock market works. But before that, we need to understand what a public company is. In a capitalist society, you see, private businesses with enough partners are eligible to turn their companies into public companies. Yes, that means that company can sell shares to the general public. This helps a company grow bigger while rewarding its investors. Now, let us go back in time to make you guys understand a bit more. Spaceship, activate time traveling. Where to, sir? 16th century, if you may. Commencing, sir. All right, here we are in the 16th century. Well, I have been hearing a story going on around here about the Dutch East India Company. Yeah, that's what it says on the coin. 1745. Oh, the Dutch East India Company. Well, I was just talking to a merchant who bought a share of their ship's profits and told me he made some fortune out of it. When I asked him how, here is what he told me. It seems Dutch East India Company wanted their operations to grow, have more ships, do more trade, but it's a really expensive operation, so they thought of a plan. To grow their business, they needed more capital. In order to do that, they sold portions or shares of their company to private citizens who could afford those shares, and they promised that they will give the ship's shares to those private citizens. And what Dutch East India Company did was use that money to grow their business. And as their business grew, so did their company's worth and size, which meant the value of the shares their investors held increased. So when those investors sold those shares back to the company, they made a profit out of it. So that's how stock market works, and they unknowingly started the world's first stock market. Well, I guess that's all we have to learn from here today. Okay, Spaceship, take us back to the coronavirus pandemic of 2020, if you may. Commencing, sir. Okay, so now private companies who turn themselves into public companies, they and use IPOs or initial public offerings to grow. Investors who believe in their business cash in their capitals into these companies to be rewarded. If you are thinking about trading or investing into the stock market soon, here is a famous quote by Paul Samuelson, which might interest you. So he said, investments are like watching paint dry or seeing grass grow. If you want excitement, take $800 and go to Las Vegas. Just think about it for a second and I'll let you guys be at it while I read the quote again. Investments are like watching paint dry or seeing grass grow. If you want excitement, take $800 and go to Las Vegas. Now, so like I told you all, there's going to be a special guest with us today in our show, Mr. Soumyabrata Mondal, currently who is handling his own startup called Infratics. He spent years learning about businesses, new technology, and about innovative things. His startup, Infratics, kind of stands for information and robotics. So he's a guy who's a lot into electronics and robotics and all such kinds. So before I go ahead and ask him about all the information, I would like to ask him, Mandalaya, how are you doing today?
I'm good. Actually, it's already 3 weeks in quarantine, and there is lots of thing to explore. I already explored the lots of thing, and I started my new delivery services currently. So it's good for me, working from my home. And today, I'm very good situation, and I'm
You're giving this podcast. That's your time means a lot, and you said something about doing delivery. What are you doing? Like, is it a new business?
Yes, it's a new business. According to current situation, I'm delivering the home essentials goods like groceries, fruits, and vegetables to
Wow.
people.
Wow, that's really nice. That's very innovative, trying to take advantage of the time that's going on. Also making money, also helping people at the same time. That's real entrepreneurship. Okay, so today in our podcast, Mandal Bhaiya, we are discussing new businesses and also the importance of youth ideas being involved in them. So as a person, when you were young, you had your first startup during your college years, right?
Yes.
So how was that experience for you?
Actually, at starting, it's all like I was very excited to do something, and everybody is excited to do new things in college. They get a new atmosphere and new environment, new people they meet every day. So when you get some problem, actually, it's startup. It's like solving a problem. So there was some problem, and I started to solve that. First, I was hungry one day, and I am from another part of our country. The food habits are different from there and there, and there is lots of people from various places in our college.
So like you didn't like the food when you came to college, the hostel food.
Yes, something like that. And I skip lots of time, anytime the food, and I feel hungry at night. So then I want to get some food at of my choice at my place. So then I started a startup, food for you, food online food delivery system portal for students, and there is a lots of variety in that to get every students their choice of food at their doorstep.
Wow, that was really well. You had a lot of different variety of food, considering that there was a lot of different people in
Yes,
your
yes,
college,
yes.
right? So you had probably things from South
Actually, that's
India.
the problem. Hunger is the problem, and the solution is the food. So, how you process your idea, that's the only way to make a startup successful.
Wow, wow. So there's this thing about young people, since we're talking about young people and youth ideas. So people who are working towards their goal to launch new startups, What is one advice that you want to give them before they start? I mean, people who want to start, they usually have low budgets and they have different situations, different barricades. What is one advice that you want to give them to motivate them?
Actually, if you came with the idea, you have to execute it. So before execution, you must focus about the thing what will be helpful to your idea or to your business. And the revenue is the main thing. So if you are starting something, so you just have to make a revenue model, and you have to gather experience on each and every field of that, and take all those resources, use all those resources, make your startup fruitful. And obviously the first thing, think about what problem your idea is solving. If it's meaningful, then it will be a meaningful startup, and it will be easily in the market, and you can compete and you can survive in the market if you're really solving some problem. So just focus on the problem of your society or your environment or anything you want to solve, and then go for it.
No, okay, okay. Well, that was very resourceful. If someone actually uses the right strategies they make and they follow it, then there's a good chance that they might succeed
In their goals,
in their goals. Right. Well, there's this one thing. My next question is, learning one thing can give you optimal focus, but a CEO of a company has to focus on multiple things. So, do CEOs have to become like the jack of all trades and the master of none kind of thing?
No, it's not like that. Actually, when you start, then you should be CEO of your life. You have to take decision, and you have to learn one thing first. That one of the skill the CEO required most is how to make people work for him. And there is lots of various skills. So when you are with some project or came to your business or market, you just need to gather the vertical knowledge in few things.
What is
Just
what is exactly vertical knowledge?
vertical knowledge is like, first you are taking the overview of knowledges of many things, that you have to select the things you want to go for,
Right.
and then you have to go deeper in that.
Right.
And that is vertical knowledge, when you go deeper in something.
Right, right,
So
right.
you
So
need
that is focusing on one thing.
focusing on one thing or multiple thing at same time. If you are digging
Right,
it
right,
well,
right.
so you just have to focus on finance, marketing, and technical. These three things you have to master yourself. And after that, the first thing I told, you have to know how to make people work for you. And it's all about your CEO or any higher rank or anywhere you are, it will be helpful for your
So
startup.
basically, it's like a leader with various knowledges.
Various knowledges. It's like, if you are CEO, you need to be unicorn. You have
Okay,
to
okay.
fly, you have horn, and all those things.
You can run.
You should be multitasking at same time,
Right,
and
right.
you have to work more than a person who is working for you.
Right, right, right. Well, my next question would be that, like, there's this thing, there are many people nowadays who are trying to start new businesses. They are getting motivated by different motivators, inspiring talkers and stuff.
Yeah.
So they drive people to start new businesses. And if everyone is starting a new business, let's say there is 100 new businesses in the market, there's also a good chance that those businesses might fail. So do you think that this failing can affect our economy or the macroeconomy?
Actually, the failure of business, there is a huge probability of failure of your business. It depend on you. If you are not following the trend, you will be fail at your part, and you have to work on it. The first thing is, if you are talking about the microeconomy or something like that, then it's like, if you invested something in your product or in your office, in your furniture rent, or in your employee, the cash is flowing totally. So it's coming from somewhere and going somewhere, so it's not affect the economy, it's in the market. If you hold the things, then it will affect the macroeconomy. So it's not affect much about, but one thing they lose, that is time, and time is gold. So they should learn at that time and gather experience at that time,
Not waste
and
time.
not waste time, and go from one thing to another thing, and don't bother about their failure, just learn from it and go ahead.
Well, you have your own company. It's called Infratics. So you have this thing called, you have your own technical manufacturing in it, and you also incubate new ideas. You give chances to youths and help them with their ideas. Plus, also uh, you want to start your own manufacturing firm. Well, the young people nowadays have this nightmare about manufacturing businesses, and they feel like, oh my god, manufacturing is big, I don't want to go there, I want to start something
Yeah,
small.
yeah, yeah.
So
There is lots of people I
what's your
met.
opinion on this?
Actually, my opinion on this, you should not listen to someone who is negative with negative thoughts. Actually, you have to do it by your own. You have to focus on those things. Manufacturing is not very tough today. In today's scenario, I am 25-year old and I starting my manufacturing unit very soon. It's all just because of I just focus on my product and doing something. It's like if you are thinking to make a rocket, it's not rocket science in the manufacturing sector. First you have to make the minimum viable product, then take feedback from your potential customers or mentors, and after the feedback continue the R&D, and after the R&D develop the product in much better way.
What is R&D?
R&D is research and development according to the customer feedback.
Right.
Okay, so when you are completing the circle, you have to spin the circle many times, and when how many time it roll, your product will be at more perfect and perfect stage, and your business will be at much mature stage, and you can make money from it. So it's not very tough thing, you just have to spin the wheel.
Okay. So Mandalaya, you were telling me earlier that you're trying to build a new robot or a system in the healthcare system, since because of the pandemic going on, and you
Yes,
want to
yes, yes.
help people and the doctors mostly manage things in the hospital. What is that about? Could you tell the guests in our podcast today?
Actually, recently in Italy, there is lots of medical worker and doctors are died because of they are serving people, and they are at their life is at risk.
Even in India, I
Even in
heard.
India, there is Indore,
Right,
there's a
right,
doctor who died recently.
right.
So just because of that, I just want to make something which can visit in the wards and take care of patient, give them medicines, and obviously another health services with the precautions and everything. So in that situation, in I don't want to put the life of our doctors in danger, because in India medical infrastructure need to grow much more. So I just introducing something in few days for this pandemic, and
Wow.
I want to work for this world or this such problem.
You want to help the world.
I just want to help the world
Right.
from
And
come out from the
how is
pandemic.
how is this going for you? How far are you guys with and your team?
Actually, we are make our designing part complete. We just have to get the potential customers feedback, and after that our prototype is ready. We are going for the manufacturing. After that, the surety from the market we
Wow,
get.
that's really great. Well, that's all the time that we can give you today, Mandalay, and I'm sure I really hope to take another interview from you about maybe some other topics. Thank you, Mandalay, for your time and your knowledge that you gave us today. If you guys would like to know about his work and about him, check out his startup page. I've pasted the link in the description. Thank you again for your time and energy. Also, if you guys enjoyed today's episode or have any of your own opinions, do share them with me, and I would like you guys to keep learning because every day is a present. You guys have a safe quarantine. I'm your host Abrar, signing off.